My mentor and I approach a large gate. The threatening aura causes me to shirk from it. This portal is identical to the double doors of my high school, dyed a weird maroon, but the letters ACMA are not inscribed upon the reddish paint. Instead, familiar words slither across the surface letter by letter, the scary stanza that introduced the underworld. I am the way into the city of woe. I am the way into eternal pain. I am the way to go among the lost. I'm bemused. ACMA presented me the best few years of my life, so far. If anything, the gates to hell would have been my old Catholic school. Then I remember that most of my conscious mistakes, faults, and actions occurred within the influence of this wonderful school. Between the 7th and 12th grades, I did, said, and supported some not-so-moral activities, including gossip, drama, and other menial sins. So maybe it made sense after all. Justice caused my high architect to move. Divine omnipotence created me. The highest wisdom and the primal love. Spiritually, ACMA challenged me. My distance from God increased, and the line of my moral horizon blurred. Hell, the godless place. Hell, this liberal high school that held the illusion of acceptance and yet scoffed at those with a conventional upbringing. Because I was against abortion, apparently that made me anti-feminist. Because I didn't believe in premarital sex, I was a prude who didn't want women to have a choice with what they did with their bodies. I never shoved my beliefs down anyone's throat, but I sure got a lot of crap for believing in a God who personally meant a lot to me. Before me, there were no created things, but those that last forever, as do I. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. At this point, ACMA represented the inner struggle of my mind, the subconscious belief that my independence, my artistic growth, was only an illusion. I constantly convinced myself that I wasn't good enough. I didn't know how to accept praise, and the bar for satisfaction was extremely high, to the point where ascending the peak of a metaphorical Everest could not satisfy me. Thus, I remained stuck, bogged down in my unrealistic expectations. Before ACMA, there was nothing. During ACMA, I made something out of nothing, and didn't appreciate it. I abandoned hope in a place where suddenly everyone was as talented as I was, and I, again, was nothing special. Yet, ACMA saved my life. The teachers, new friends whose interests mirrored mine, a curriculum that challenged me, everything I desired before but which always evaded me. It presented me a new, unfamiliar, foreign concept. Control, power, and instantly, I was addicted. I flourished in the strength of positive leadership, the power to push on with my writing and music, the ability to experiment. But there's a flip side to every coin, and some pretty nasty shadows crept up on me. I wanted to always be in control. I was easily used in group projects because I could only settle with perfection, especially because when my groupmates were useless, it affected my grade. I observed the oppressiveness and my thirst for attention, and the fact that people actually looked up to me fueled my fatal flaw, pride. Being wrong was not an option. I desired godhood, basically a one-way ticket to eternal tears, which I would only realize with the appearance of another piece of influential literature, Paradise Lost. The words carved into the gates of this bipolar academy of the arts and the socially challenged unnerved me. Sensing my insecurity, Dante speaks again. Here you must leave distrust and doubt behind. Here you must put all cowardice to death. I knew that the ravaging dementors would feast on my fear if I expressed any. I had to put everything behind me and take a leap of faith, plunge myself into the pool of honesty instead of merely testing the waters with a tentative toe. It took me 6 whole years to finally face myself openly and authentically. I could not reach my apotheosis if I did not do it now. The first realm of hell is that of the unnamed spirits. In life, these men and women made no waves, and their cowardice condemns them to a terrible limbo, because neither heaven nor hell will accept them. The only thing worse than making a bad decision is making no decision at all. I often got a lot of crap for having an opinion and stating that opinion, which spoke a flaw in a talent, but if I didn't make a change, who would? If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Along this line, not too long ago, I was talking with my advisor about this flaw, and everyone knew me as the rescuer, as the hero, that if they didn't come through, I would. The school system taught me that my success revolved around others, and when they didn't rise to the occasion, I fretted and stressed about accomplishing everything by myself to avoid failure. I'll be advising you in no uncertain or gentle words that the manner of thinking needs to change, and if it does so successfully, I can leave the circle. I'm working on it. Moving across the river Acheron, the passageway to hell, we reach the first concentric ring of hell, limbo. In this place, there is no suffering, no raining fire from the sky, but there are no smiles or happiness either. In this place are the unbaptized, those who weren't Christian but lived morally good lives, including the pre-Christian poets and philosophers. Many of Dante's influences reside here, such as Virgil, Homer, and Aristotle. I too find that I seek moral and personal help from those who do not share my faith, but possess a wonderful spirituality. In this ring, I find acceptance, the knowledge that because one is not of my ritualistic faith doesn't mean he or she is a bad person. Now, the second circle, the damned land of the lustful, who are whipped about by a terrible wind representing the cyclone of desire. I recognize the painted faces and modified figures of celebrities whose uncontrollable passion pulled them away from their husbands or wives and drew them to a dark world of dangerous secrets. The third circle houses the gluttonous, where the sluggish and sagging forms of those who could not stem the impulse to mediate suffer. The nest of avarice, the fourth circle, consists of misers and squanderers pushing boulders at each other and sneering. I can't make out any of their faces, though they're dressed in torn suits, jabbering at one another. I've seen them on TV with their perfect hair and cold eyes. These are the lawyers, the politicians, the bankers, the sharks who turn my stomach. They don't pursue justice as I wish to. The decision to pursue copyright law to defend artists renews. I won't become like these people. With my career of choice, I had to ask myself important questions regarding my central dramatic question, which was, does a career in copyright law satisfy the person I am and am becoming? Does it smother my morals? As I survey hell, I consider this. But if I am truly passionate about justice, my morals will drive, not hinder me. Next, can I have a career in balanced personal relationships? I never really considered future relationships. I didn't date, I never dreamed about marriage, and kids never ever seriously crossed my mind. I wanted a comfortable life, not a huge family. I have a hard time with romance since physical contact pales in comparison to the importance of emotional connection. I wanted friends, not a love interest, and I angered many boys because of it. I became the queen of the friend zone, and a friend of mine and I even built an amusement park based off it, out of pure frustration. But I have realized that my school, my education, my future is way more important to me than romance. I have faith that the perfect guy is out there, and when we meet, we will rule the world together. We pause in the fifth circle, that of the wrathful and the sullen. As the angry attack each other on the surface and the sullen gurgle beneath the surface of the swamp-like sticks, I shrink back closer to my mentor. Through the other circles, my mind whirred with the most applicable sins, and even though I never physically struck out at people, there was a different kind of wrath that lurked in my personality. I could separate my many forms of anger expression into two categories, cold and hot. Hot involved yelling and storming and crying, the kind of anger that abated soon and left me calmer and more likely to forgive. This fury was usually directed towards my parents, who I don't really yell at anymore because I'm too busy with the more important things in life. And my little brother, who I do shout on occasion due to the lack of respect. I hope it's a phase he'll grow out of. The second form of fury arises in an apparently icy indifference, the metaphorical cold shoulder. Passive aggression plagues those whom I feel have truly wronged me or others, or those close to me. Heaven, or hell rather, help those who prompt this kind of scorn. Merciless and unforgiving, I know this is the kind of wrath that can hand me a one-way golden ticket to this circle of the abyss. Because of trust issues, I find forgiving those who have knowingly or unknowingly hurt me extremely difficult. I hold grudges. That kind of anger weighs heavily on my heart. Unforgivable wrongs committed against me many years ago float to the surface of my mind. Sensing one close to their own, the wrathful turn and sneer at me, approaching me with harsh whispers. I squeeze my eyes shut, focus on these sins, and release them in one breath. It's done. I sigh and glare at the physical manifestation of my fury. In weeping and in grieving, a cursed spirit may you long remain. Hissing, they back away, and with a pounding but slightly lighter heart, I turn, and my guide leads me on. Onward, to the walls surrounding lower hell, the eternal city of Dis, the city of woe.